Joining us now, CBS News correspondent David Begnaud, who has been reporting from the U.S. Mexico border. So, David, you've gone on ride-alongs with Border Patrol today. Are you seeing migrants being stopped and children separated down there?
In fact, Erica, we saw it within the first 10 minutes of leaving this processing facility here in McAllen, Texas. We were working on a story for the CBS Evening News, which you will see tonight. And within 10 minutes of leaving here, we came upon a group of roughly 10 people who had just been detained. We saw them sitting on a levee road. They had been given bottles of water by Border Patrol that was asking them questions, and they almost seemed to be relieved. Relieved because they had reached the U.S., and even though they had been detained and were being taken into custody, one agent said to me, they look relieved because it was worth the risk. I asked one woman, I said, why did you come from Honduras? She brought her 3 kids. One of her kids has a newborn. And she said, because of the political violence in my country, we couldn't stay. And so it was worth it to us to come here and cross the border and get arrested.
And so for that family, that woman, does it seem likely that she will be separated from her children? Did you see any of the children that will likely be taken somewhere else away from their parents?
So it's a good question, and the Border Patrol told us it doesn't seem like that mother and her 3 daughters, the one that has the newborn, will be separated, but they cannot guarantee it. There were 2 other people, a father and a son. The son seems to be 12, 13 years old, and we were told it's highly likely Dad will be prosecuted and he will be separated from his son.
David, we've seen images coming from the government of the boys that are being held there, and I know you and many others have been questioning where are the girls, the toddlers? Are you getting any more information about where they're being sent and what is actually happening with them?
No, we haven't. And for the last 72 hours, we have asked the Department of Health and Human Services, where are you transporting girls and toddlers who you are separating from families? And we cannot get an answer. We don't know what's happening. We know that in West Texas, there's a facility in Tornillo where they've set up tents where boys are being sent. But where are the girls and the toddlers going? We can't get an answer from the United States government.
In your time there in Texas covering this, what has been the most surprising or shocking to you about your observations being there at the U.S. Mexico border and seeing inside one of these facilities?
It was shocking to walk in and see people in cages, right? That is an observation, not an opinion, an observation. I even got a complaint email from someone at Border Patrol who said, I didn't like the fact that you called it cages. But they said, we're not saying you were inaccurate, we just didn't like it because it made us uncomfortable. Erica, there's a lot about this story that makes people uncomfortable, but they are cages, and they are cages similar to what animals are held in. It's just a fact. Now, this is not new under the Trump administration. These cages were used under the Obama administration, but this is what happens. Now, Border Patrol officials will tell you, we feel like we're under attack. We're being attacked unfairly. We don't feel like the whole story is being told. And that's why we did the ride along today. Because at the end of the day, the Border Patrol agents we've met are clearly empathetic and compassionate. I even asked one Border Patrol agent who helped to translate the interview we did with someone who had been arrested. I said, I can hear the empathy in your voice. And he said, listen, we all grew up here. I grew up here. And at the end of the day, we have a heart, but we got to do our job too.
And lastly, David, is there any other question that you've been seeking an answer to that you feel is not being addressed by officials down there? Any more questions that really, leaves us in a state of wondering what is going on with these children being separated from their parents and other family members?
It's less about a question and more about a request. And the request is, can we get more access? You can't just have a news conference and allow journalists to ask 2 questions and expect to have the full context of the story told. We want more access. We want to be able to bring our cameras in that facility and be given more than 10 minutes. The only thing we could do when we went in there was take a pen and a pad. We were only given 15 minutes, and then they gave us 5 pictures they wanted us to show you and a video that was 1 minute and 34 seconds. We want to take our own cameras. We want more time. It's not about taking a side, Erica. There was a woman who emailed me who said, be an advocate for the people. And I responded and I said, ma'am, with all due respect, we're not an advocate for anybody. What we're trying to find out is what is the truth at every layer. Context, it is crucial on this story.
All right. Well, David Begnaud down in McAllen, Texas for us. Thank you so much for your insight.
You bet. You bet.